Let's do item number 8. Anybody got an issue with that? Okay, we'll move to item on number 8. Megan Probst requesting a rezone of 20.5 acres from A20 to RA5. Anything additional on this one?
I'll just go through this real quick. And so I think we know the area. The property proposed to be rezoned from A20 to RA5. The whole idea behind changing it from the central planning area to the southern planning area is that the southern planning area has less constraints and also allows for RA5 zoning. So again, in our code, it has under 160205A, Planning Commission and county legislative bodies shall hold a public hearing wherein it must be shown that such amendment is in the interest of the public and is consistent with the goals and policies of the Wasatch County General Plan. Again, this is now in the southern planning area. And here's the wetlands map that was referred to earlier. And the flood hazard, earthquake hazard, and problem soils map. The suitability for wastewater disposal, septic tanks. And you can see the applicant's property here with the legend. It's the north portion that's shown as generally suitable. The flood inundation area, Jordan Dam failure area. It might be a wetlands if that happened. The applicant's property in relation to the bypass road. And so the southern planning area of the general plan states that the single greatest constraint to development in this area without a sewer collection system is the use of septic tank drain fields as a means of wastewater disposal due to the high potential of contamination of the groundwater. The general plan also states that in the 1994 hydrogeologic water quality study, there was a determination that a concentration of septic drain fields greater than 1 per 5 acres could result in a violation of Heber Valley's underground water designation as pristine. General plan also states that physical constraints that may limit development in this planning area. A review of these identified constraints along with a detailed on-site analysis should be required before any development is approved within this planning area. So what that's saying is if there is a rezone approved tonight and it goes to RA5 and there's a subdivision proposed down the road, we would have to go through and identify any constraints. There would also obviously be a soils report required, groundwater to be determined, all those things. Number 4, the general plan states with the lack of sewer collection systems or the potential for a sewer collection system in the next 15 to 20 years, this disposal of residential waste water will be by the use of drain fields. Development code shall establish the minimum lot size in this planning area as 5 acres. And then in the A20 zone, so these are findings for or against. If you feel like it should be in the southern planning area and in RA5, then these first 5 statements support that. The following 6 are purpose and intent statements of the A20 zone. So number 6, avoid excessive costs for public services in areas with high physical constraints. The purpose section of the A20 zone also states preserve the beauty of the entry corridors of the Wasatch County, protect the underground water supply from pollution, maintain an open rural buffer between Heber and Midway City. The parcel is bordered on the east by RA5 zone, and both parcels are within the southern planning area. A concern for approving the rezone could be the expansion of the RA5 zoning throughout the Southfields area. County Council, as the land use authority on zoning map amendments, has broad discretion on rezone approvals or denials. Any development of the property would require to go through a small-scale subdivision process. When this went to the Planning Commission, it was a hotly debated issue, and the recommendation was to go forward with the rezone, but it was a split vote of 4-2. And that's all I got. Any questions?
Anything for Doug? Okay, similarly to the last item, we've had multiple public hearings. It's been a discussion item in multiple public meetings, so I think we're all familiar with it and ready for action from the council.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we deny the request of the rezone by the applicant as presented. I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Good, second by Mr. Nelson. Everybody clear on what the motion is? The motion is to deny, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Any further discussion on the motion?
Well, I'm probably going to make a discussion here because I've had a hard time with this issue because I'm obviously not for upzoning anything. I'm not against making a defined line, which I feel 650 is. That's why I voted for that. But until I can see a good reason why this is in the best interest of the public, I'm probably going to vote for this motion. So I wanted to explain my vote prior to voting.
Aware of that. We only have 5 members. 6 out of 7, so just be clear on that. See. Okay, our motion is second. Any further discussion? If not, proceed to vote. Mr. Crittenden?
No. Yes.
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 No. No.
That's why you have 7.
So,
I will.
motion fails.
As an item of discussion, I was originally for this when I was under the impression that it was going to facilitate the bypass road. I was under the false impression, I guess, that it was going to facilitate the bypass, because the Heber City recently did a study where the #1 issue that residents were concerned with was the bypass, and the #2 was open space, so I felt this was a good compromise, but since it isn't going to facilitate that at all, that's why my opinion has changed. And for every 10 people I've talked to against it, I've fully talked to 1 for it, so.
Okay, any further comment? On that, I guess the applicant will have to bring that back at a future date. Is that if he wanted to get a different outcome, or does it go on to unless we wanted to make a different motion that passed? I guess we could try that if someone was willing to do that.
I'll make the motion, we approve it, and as Councilman Parker talked about, interest of public good and fairness, I think in the interest of public good and fairness would be fair to all the property owners that has the same type of land. And we're allowing people in the south planning area down south of Cassville Road to have the same opportunity. They can divide their property in 5-acre lots. And I don't know why we would deny one person in that area the opportunity to allow another.
I think the applicant is, along with that, a willing seller, just like everyone else that we procured property from for the bypass. He's a willing seller. But to ask for that as a condition of a land use, to me, is different than how we've treated everyone else. So I think that's just the way I'm viewing that too. But we have a motion by Mr. Farrell. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Crittenden. Any further discussion?
I would just make one comment that yesterday there was a very good economic summit held here in Zermatt that included Wasatch County and Summit County. And one of the keynote speakers talked about, in their opinion, the top 2 priorities for Wasatch County, and the top one was preserving critical open space. And I think most of the citizens of Wasatch County feel that way, and that's why I have to vote no.
Along with that, if you look at the calculation of open space on a 5-acre parcel with a home, it's over 98%. So in agriculture production, so I think that's critical. I agree completely. That's why I think this is a good compromise on the city boundary for
Yeah.
rural and agricultural production right next to 5 units per acre.
I guess
I think
if we
it's a
pass
pretty
the
good
open
transition,
space
so.
bond, they can use some of that 15.
So we have a motion by Mr. Farrell and a second by Mr. Crittenden. And,
Comment.
oh, sir, yeah,
Mike Guthrie, just a quick procedural question.
yeah.
So we have a motion before us.
Well,
It's about that.
I'm gonna, well, I understand. I'll allow it. I'll allow your comment, please.
I'm just curious procedurally. So my understanding of this is we just had a motion to deny this and
And it failed
so now we're doing a motion to,
because the motion didn't pass and it didn't. So we have another motion. If it fails again, we don't have a tie-breaking vote, in other words. So
thank you.
we won't be able to take action.
Thank you.
So, okay, motion is on the table. Everybody understands it? We'll vote again. Mr. Crittenden?
Yes.
No.
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 Yes.
Yes. That's what I kind of like.
Can I make a motion that we table this till the next meeting when we have a full quorum?
Yeah, that's a good idea. We got a second for that?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Park, second by Mr. Farrell. Thank you, Mr. Park. Any discussion? If not, we'll vote. Mr. Crittenden?
Yes.
No. No.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. We'll have that on our next regular meeting.
I'm hoping at the next meeting we have a full council,
Yeah, and that way we'll know one way or the other.
or at
So,
least Mike and whoever he's gonna vote with,
yeah.
whichever three.
Michelle, will you make sure that's on our agenda for June? And just for everyone's information, that will be on the June 6th agenda, if you're interested in coming back to see how that turns out.
Greg, just one quick comment.
Please, Mr. Probst.
First 45 minutes of this meeting, I sat through a presentation that had 1,900 ERUs. I'm asking for three additional.
Thanks.
So just take that into consideration.
Thanks, Mr. Probst. Okay, we will now go to